皆様こんにちは。ただいまよりブルネイ・ダルサラーム養殖業の投資機会ビジネスミーティングを開始いたします。私は本日の司会進行を務めさせていただきます天貝と申します。よろしくお願いいたします。本日のウェビナーではブルネイ・ダルサラームの養殖業について発表を行います。お申し込みの際にご記載いただきましたコメントやご質問につきましては可能な限り対応させていただきます。また終了後、皆様にアンケートへのご協力依頼のメールが届く予定となっております。今後の参考とさせていただきたく、何卒ご協力のほどお願い申し上げます。なお、恐れ入りますが、本日のウェビナーの録画はご遠慮くださいませ。本日の講演資料については、後日当センターのホームページに掲載予定です。それでは、開会の挨拶に移らさせていただきます。はじめに当センターの事務総長、平林邦彦より歓迎挨拶をさせていただきます。平林総長、お願いいたします。
おはようございます。Selamat pagi。Assalamualaikum。オンラインで参加の皆様、豊かな自然と資源に恵まれた国、ブルネイ・ダルサラームの養殖業を紹介するオンラインイベントにようこそ。まずは、新型コロナウイルスの世界的感染、パンデミックに触れなくてはなりません。ブルネイでも日本でもいまだに大きな影響を与えています。不幸にしてかけがえのないお方を亡くされた皆様、そして経済的、社会的に困難な中にある方々に心からお見舞い申し上げます。ブルネイ政府は現在の状況を一刻も早く収束すべく、あらゆる努力をなされていると伺っております。国境を越え、共に一致して困難を乗り切ることが唯一の解決策であると信じております。さて、私ども日本 ASEAN センターは、日本とブルネイを含む ASEAN 加盟10カ国の人々の最善の利益のために、日本と ASEAN 諸国間の貿易、投資、観光、そして人物交流という活動を通じて、誰一人取り残さない社会の実現を目指しております。また、日本、ASEAN 双方のダイナミックな変化を踏まえ、貿易、投資、観光分野におけるセミナー、ワークショップ、政策対話、調査研究などを行う一方で、SDG や循環型経済、若年層での日本 ASEAN の関係強化など、新しい社会課題を踏まえた活動への取り組みを進めております。本日は、ブルネイの水産庁、経済開発委員会、ブルネイ大使館のご協力により、ブルネイ養殖業の現在未来を紹介するオンラインイベントを私どもは共催いたすことができることになりました。ありがとうございます。ブルネイは石油をはじめとした天然資源による経済発展を遂げました。ブルネイで生産された天然ガスの大部分は日本に輸出され、ブルネイにとって日本は長年にわたる最大の貿易相手国であり、日本にとってもブルネイはとても重要なエネルギー供給国です。ブルネイはこれまで国家を支えてきたエネルギー産業に依存しすぎることないよう、近年経済の多角化を進めています。当センターはブルネイの産業多角化を支援するため、2021年3月にブルネイ・ダルサラームの養殖業への投資のためのフィジビリスタディという調査を実施いたしました。この調査では、養殖業がブルネイの新たな産業として高い潜在性を持つことを確認いたしました。実際、養殖業はブルネイで最も急速に発展している産業の一つであり、2023年までに少なくても2億ブルネイドル、日本にしておよそ165億円規模に成長することが見込まれております。今後、ブルネイでは養殖の環境制御やモニタリング装置、ICT といったハイテク技術を活用しながら持続性があり、 かつ世界有数の養殖大国となることが目標となっております。養殖業の成長に伴い、養殖関連産業の発達や若い人材育成も期待されております。本日のプログラムでは、午前中のセッションにおいて、今回の調査結果に基づいたブルネイの養殖業の現状と可能性についての情報を皆さんに共有いたします。そして午後のセッションでは、日本企業の皆様とブルネイの養殖企業のビジネスミーティングを開催いたします。私どものこうした事業が日本とブルネイ、そして ASEAN 諸国の結びつきをさらに強化し、皆様の持続性のあるビジネスにおいてお役に立てることを期待しております。ありがとうございます。Terima kasih。
平林総長、ありがとうございました。続きまして、ブルネイ水産庁ノライニ・アンガス局長よりご挨拶をいただきます。Mrs. Noraini Angas, please start your remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Amagai. Honorable host, Dr. Kunihiko Hirabayashi, Secretary General, ASEAN-Japan Center, our colleagues from Embassy of Brunei Darussalam in Tokyo and Brunei Economic Development Board, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. It is a great honor to be able to attend this event, and I'm glad to express that today marks the first session between Japan business entrepreneurs and our local fisheries businesses in Brunei Darussalam. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to ASEAN-Japan Center for planning, coordinating, and hosting this event. I would also like to thank you for conducting the feasibility study on aquaculture in Brunei Darussalam for investment during the first quarter of this year and successfully publishing the results in March 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, aquaculture industry in Brunei Darussalam is rapidly developing industry and has been identified as the main sector to contribute to the national gross domestic product, which is in line with the government of Brunei Darussalam vision to diversify its economy. In the year 2020, Brunei Darussalam saw an increase of more than 200% from the aquaculture industry production valued at 32.35 million as compared to the previous year. This was mainly contributed by the introduction and production of white shrimp, Lithopenes venenae, in addition to other subsectors such as marine fish, freshwater fish, and fry production of marine and freshwater species. Department of Fisheries is expecting the aquaculture industry production to expand to 68 million by the year 2022 through the expansion and optimization of awarded sites by the existing operators, including the opening up of new aquaculture sites by new operators and for foreign direct investment. Brunei Darussalam is blessed with good geographical location away from calamities and boasts a stable political and economic environment. There is a committed government support to ensure a conducive business environment. As such, we welcome potential investors to come and invest in viable and high-valued aquaculture commodities. There are great opportunities here waiting to be tapped. Before I end my remarks, on behalf of the Department of Fisheries, Ministry of Primary Resources and Tourism, Brunei Darussalam, once again would like to extend our deep appreciation for your kind participation to this event. I would like to wish us all a successful session and a fruitful deliberation in achieving the aims and objectives of the business meeting today. I hope we can continue to have more online sessions like this in the near future. and I hope it could be extended to other industry as well, including capture fisheries and processing activities. Lastly, on behalf of the government of Brunei Darussalam, I would like to once again express my sincere appreciation to the ASEAN-Japan Center, to the Embassy of Brunei Darussalam in Tokyo, and the Brunei Economic Development Board for your kind support and cooperation in making this event a success. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
アンガス局長、ありがとうございました。次に、ブルネイ経済開発委員会、ブルネイエコノミックディベロップメントボードからビデオプレゼンテーション、ブルネイダルッサラームに投資する理由を放送します。
ブルネイ・ダルサラームは6億5000万人が暮らす ASEAN 市場に理想的なプラットフォームを提供できる戦略的な位置にあります。また、法人所得税が 18.5% と低く、非常に有利な税制を提供しています。企業におけるビジネスの確立と成長を支援するため、地元のビジネス環境はオープンで透明性があり、ビジネスと投資を促進し続けるべく、改革が引き続き行われています。投資家はビジネスの最大 100% を所有することができますが、共同支援パートナーシップは政府関連企業と地元の民間企業の両方で利用できます。私たちはまた、新規 FDI 会社のデザインや商標が保護される強力な知的財産制度を持っています。ブルネイ・ダルサラームへの投資は簡単でシンプルなプロセスであり、投資家はすべてのプロジェクト要件を迅速かつ合理的に受け取ることができます。企業はまた、プロジェクトの全期間を通して完全な円滑化が図られます。ブルネイ・ダルサラームは土地面積の 72% が手つかずの熱帯雨林や独自の環境生息地で覆われているため、優れた大気質を備えた清潔で緑豊かな環境を維持しています。私たちの国は政治的に安定しており、大きな自然災害の歴史はなく、犯罪率も低く安全です。ブルネイ・ダルサラームは ASEAN のメンバーとして多くの自由貿易協定を結んでおり、国内に拠点を置く企業に市場への競争力のあるアクセスを提供しています。私たちはビジネスの個人的な側面に配慮し、教育と医療サービスの両分野で最先端の施設と製品を提供しています。ブルネイ・ダルサラームから ASEAN のすべての主要都市へは飛行機でわずかに3時間、上海へはわずか4時間ほどです。国営航空会社であるロイヤルブルネイは、メルボルン、ドバイ、香港、ロンドン、東京、台北、ソウルなどへの直行便を運航しています。ムアラ港はこの地域の主なハブ港湾になることを目標に、長年にわたって着実に貨物取り扱いの効率化を図ってきました。この取り組みは、ムアラ港と中国を含む主要な国際港への運航の向上につながっています。私たちはワワサンブルネイ2035の第3の目標を達成すべく、ブルネイの経済ブループリントに沿ってダイナミックで持続可能な経済を実現しようとしています。この経済ブループリントを実行することにより、私たちは4つの国家経済成果、すなわち高く持続可能な経済成長、経済の多様化、マクロ経済の安定性、低い失業率の達成に努めています。そのため、ブルネイの非石油ガスセクターの発展を先導し、国の経済多様化の取り組みに貢献する新興セクターを歓迎します。その中でも特に5つの優先セクターを歓迎しています。ブルネイ・ダルサラーム内では、すでに多くの有名な企業が運営されています。このリストは FDI の存在が多くなるにつれ、この数年でさらに長くなっています。FDI は工業用地が利用可能で、用地はすべて主要な港、国際空港に近接しています。ブルネイ・ダルサラームがあなたの投資先となるよう願っています。詳細については当機関のウェブサイト www.invest.gov.bn をご覧ください。または info@invest.gov.bn へメールでお問い合わせください。
続きまして、ブルネイ・ダルッサラーム養殖業への投資実効性調査の 結果発表を行います。調査担当者のロン・アラン・エストレビロさん、平本春子さん、発表をお願いします。
Pleasant morning to everyone, and thank you for attending this presentation. I'm Ron Alan Estremillo, and I'm with Ms. Haruko Himamoto, and we were engaged by the ASEAN-Japan Center to develop a aquaculture feasibility study for Brunei Darussalam. And today, we're going to present a summary of the study that was made. For the outline of the presentation, we will begin with the outline and rationale of the study. Second is the findings of the study. And last are the conclusions and the way forward. Starting with the rationale of the study, the emergence of the global pandemic has caused negative effects to economies of various countries, including Japan and ASEAN member states. So there's an emerging need to strengthen economic and industrial relations between Japan and ASEAN to take on this problem. This can be done by maintaining and diversifying the manufacturing supply chain and building the resilient economic structure between Japan and ASEAN. Given this, Brunei is identified as one of the ASEAN countries that could further solidify its economic ties with Japan. It is important to explore and propose the plan for the Brunei investment initiatives like aquaculture. So why invest in fisheries through aquaculture in Brunei? For Brunei, it contributes to its long-term vision or Wawasan 2035. The aquaculture is identified as one of the non-oil and gas sectors that could add more economic inputs to the country. To add to this, there are also the following reasons. There are already existing areas available for aquaculture expansion that could accommodate investors. The industry is still small, so there are a variety of products to develop through foreign direct investments. 3, aquaculture is a growing industry, and it has contributed to 38% of increase in fisheries in 2019. 4, aquaculture products have a large export potential, being a global protein source. And 5th, it can contribute to various aspects of Brunei in terms of food production, local employment, and industry development. For the objectives of the study, given that rationale, the objective of the study is first to inform Brunei Darussalam about the current overview of the aquaculture industry in the country and its investability from Japanese investors. And second is to inform Japanese investors of opportunities in Brunei aquaculture industry. So for the study that was made, the study covers 5 chapters. Chapter 1 is in the introduction. Chapter 2 covers the overview of the aquaculture industry. Chapter 3 focuses on the specific aquaculture investment opportunities in Brunei Darussalam. Chapter 4 looks on the applicable aquaculture investment strategies. And Chapter 5 is a conclusion. This second part of the presentation will now focus on key main findings of the study. In terms of aquaculture systems utilized in Brunei, the study noted that the most common are pond culture, marine fish farming in floating cages, offshore fish cage culture, and the emerging recirculating aquaculture systems. These systems can be seen used in various existing aquaculture sites in Brunei. The map on the slide shows the aquaculture areas available around Brunei for further aquaculture expansion. These sites includes areas for hatcheries, inland systems, inshore and offshore, and even food processing areas, which covers more than 100,000 hectares. Next is the production statistics of aquaculture. In the first figure, we can see that production has increased in the past 20 years, with the highest in the year 2020, which is double from the previous highest in 2017. In figure 2, we can see that there's been significant growth in aquaculture share in the whole fishery sector, which has grown from 9% in 2015 to 23% in 2020. Lastly, in terms of specific products, the largest contribution has been marine shrimps, specifically blue shrimp. This is followed by other high-value products such as gropers, barramundi, and pompano. In terms of processing, as of 2020, there are 81 fish and seafood processors composed of commercial processors, small-scale processors, and support industries. The fish processing industry is dominated by small-scale processors, which shows that there is space for further expansion in the processing subsector. In terms of for exportation statistics, for exports, Brunei exported around 6 million worth of fish in 2019, with frozen fish amounting to 42% of all the exports. The largest export partner has been Taiwan, with 26.1% of all export. Other export partners include Singapore, Australia, Malaysia, China, and Japan. On the other hand, for importation, looking at Table 5, importation in 2019 for Brunei Darussalam amounted to 41.9 million, which is 7 times that of the exported value in the previous slide. It can also be noted here that despite producing large amounts of shrimp, Brunei is still importing even larger amounts. The largest importation partner is Malaysia, which accounts for 75% of all imports. Other importation partners include Vietnam, Singapore, China, Chile, Malaysia, Myanmar, and Norway. What can be taken away from this data is that expansion of aquaculture in Brunei through foreign direct investments can help lessen the dependence on fisheries imports through local production. The next key findings will be presented by Ms. Haruko Hiramoto.
So now I am going to provide an overview of proposed investment opportunities in Brunei for investors. Firstly, we have identified investment opportunities in Brunei that are either in the aquaculture industry or related to aquaculture. These opportunities are divided by subcategories, which are product, infrastructure and facility, culturing materials and supplements, and the service. Specific areas for investments are shown in the diagram. Out of these, we have particularly analyzed the 8 products and some spin-off industries from other categories. Of course, there are other species that are possible for investment products in Brunei. However, for this study, those 8 products are chosen based on the interview with the Department of Fisheries and the current aquaculture market in Brunei. Now I will examine each of the proposed products with key characteristics, key markets, and the benefits of investing in Brunei, as well as quickly exploring spin-off industries. So the first product is sea bass. Sea bass is one of the high-value fishes that are consumed across the world and also attracting more attention as an alternative to salmon with its high-value white flesh product. In terms of farming environment, it has an assured farming environment, which is driven by the factors such as its wide physiological and crowding tolerances and the fact that the female fish have high fecundity that can provide adequate material for seed hatcheries. Also, the seed hatchery production is rather simple and it grows rapidly. Based on the data for product importation, as well as the countries that Barramundi Asia in Brunei has been exporting the products to, we have identified the key markets for exporting fresh or frozen sea bass as the US, EU, China, Singapore, Australia, Thailand, and South Korea. Although European sea basses are more dominant in European countries, we believe other sea bass species that are more familiar in Asia, such as Asian sea bass or barramundi, can be a potential product for the EU market as well. Concerning those factors, some of the benefits of investing in sea bass in Brunei could be that it's warm and pristine waters. A low rate of natural disasters will enable the best possible practice of cage culture along the RIS culture, as well as Brunei's established trade relations in high-demand countries in Asia and Australia. The second product is grouper. Grouper is popular across the world, and compared to other high-value species such as shrimp, grouper culture is stated to be easier to culture with no attendant diseases if prudent management is conducted. In grouper aquaculture, most of the sea stock is supplied through wild capture of fingerlings, which are in limited availability and in need of development in Asia. Following those characteristics of grouper, most aquaculture groupers are produced in China, Taiwan, and Indonesia, which account for 95% of the total farmed grouper in the world by themselves. As there is already an established demand from the consumers in the regions such as Asia and the Middle East, the potential markets for exports would be those Asian countries such as Hong Kong, Singapore, Korea, China, and Japan, as well as some Middle Eastern countries. The benefits of investing in grouper in Brunei could be the availability of warm temperature, which helps the production of farming grouper. Moreover, those already developed networks for exporting grouper can be further expanded with the growing demand in the world. The third product that is promoted as a possible investment opportunity is sea bream. As people across the world seek to consume more healthy food products, the demand for sea bream has been growing in the past years. Between 2019 and 2029, it is predicted to witness nearly 6% compound annual growth rate for the global sea bream. Although some conditions for farming sea bream may differ slightly depending on the specific species, most commonly farmed species, the gill-thread sea bream, is quite adaptable. They have a capability of enduring a wider range of temperatures, despite the fact that they are more sensitive to colder temperatures. In terms of key markets, the major importing countries of global sea bream are all from Europe. However, especially the closer high demand destinations, namely Australia, could be a potential export destination of the species from Brunei. Utilizing the advantage of the geographical location of Brunei for high demand countries, including Australia, the fact that there are no FDI companies that are farming sea bream at the time of this study will bring many benefits for investors that are interested in sea bream. There is less competitiveness and more opportunities for investing in sea bream in Brunei. And today, the farming of shrimps and prawn is one of the fastest growing markets in the global aquaculture industry. Many companies are shifting their focus to the expansion of aquaculture breeding grounds in order to reduce the reliability of wild harvest capture for the preservation of ecological balance. As you may know, Brunei also has a significant aquaculture shrimp production and has been exporting its shrimp overseas. The figure in the slide shows Brunei's exporting partners of frozen shrimps in 2019. Although those countries that Brunei has been exporting their shrimp remain key markets of Brunei, other countries that are increasingly importing shrimp, such as the EU and the US, as well as untouched markets such as Russia and Africa, are also worth mentioning. As the shrimp aquaculture market has successfully been established in Brunei, this will help investors to integrate into the market easier. Moreover, some types of shrimp, such as tiger prawns, still remain as available investment opportunities in Brunei. They are the largest and the fastest growing shrimp in the world and have a stable demand in markets, including Europe. As tiger prawn is a tropical to subtropical species, warm brackish waters which are available in Brunei are suitable for farming. The next four fish species may be less relevant to some investors. However, they still have some potential to be invested in Brunei. Pompano is also one of the high-value fishes that has been distributed in most parts of the world. Due to its effective farming environments, many Southeast Asian countries are drawing their attention to pompano, particularly silver and golden pompano, as a great player for CK's culture. The aquaculture production of pompano in Asia, including Brunei, has been slightly growing, particularly after 2016. Considering the rising production of pompano in Asia, as well as high consumption of pompano in the US, the possible leading markets for exporting pompano could be Asia or Southeast Asia countries, as well as the US. As pompano generally prefers warm tropical waters, Brunei will be a suitable location with its warm waters in the surrounding ocean, along with the existing earthen pond culture and cage culture in Brunei that is widely used as major methods for pompano aquaculture. The next one is seaweed. Seaweed is also one of the top global aquaculture species. Today, seaweed is not only used for human consumption in a variety of formats, but also for other purposes, including animal feeds, fertilizers, biofuels, cosmetics, and medicines. In terms of farming seaweed, they are often inviting to many farmers with its relatively simple and cost-effective cultivation method of growing, while also contributing to climate change mitigation and environmental improvement. In terms of key markets for Brunei, while there is generally a demand across the world, those high-demand countries such as China, South Korea, and Japan, as well as Australia and the US, are favorable as exporting destinations, especially considering the geographical location of Brunei. One of the benefits of investing in seaweed in Brunei lies in Brunei's warm environment. Brunei's warm climate throughout the year is suitable for the cultivation of seaweed. For instance, depending on the temperature and the amount of sunlight, it approximately takes 2 weeks to harvest a type of seaweed in Japan. However, the duration would be reduced by half in Brunei. The last products are oyster and salmon. Oyster has been cultured across all continents and has shown successful trends in increasing production along the Blue Revolution. Specifically, Asia is the major producer for oyster aquaculture, comprising more than 90% of oyster production by quantity in 2018. Oyster farming is almost entirely sea-based. This entails the importance of site selection, especially in regards to the environmental elements. While fresh oysters are imported by European countries, as well as the US, China is also a growing importer in the last few years, which shows a constant growth among the top importing nations. On the other hand, frozen oysters are mainly imported by Japan, USA, and Hong Kong, China, and so on. The major advantage of investing in aquaculture oysters in Brunei is the comparatively lesser frequency of natural disasters, such as tsunami and typhoons, which has a significant effect on oyster culturing. From here, investors can reduce the risk when it comes to investing in Brunei. There has also been a strong demand for salmon across the world, as it has proven to be a versatile and popular seafood item among consumers. The strong demand for salmon with the possibility of more innovation and markets allow Brunei to invest in the salmon aquaculture industry securely. While key markets for exporting salmon include most of the countries as they are consumed worldwide, the countries such as China, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and Hong Kong could be potential export destinations for Brunei. On the other hand, there may be possible challenges of salmon culture, such as competitive markets and the need for high technology, as the salmon market is already established in most of the areas across the world. Regardless, there are still opportunities in investing in salmon in Brunei, as Brunei provides a clean environment for farming and there's no substantial aquaculture farm for other growing species such as farmed coho salmon and rainbow trout in Brunei. Aside from specific species and the products directly produced by aquaculture, there are also other industries that are related to aquaculture where investments could be put in. For instance, processing industry seems to be another great opportunities for investors. As it is shown on the table, Brunei had an import value of $2,700 in 2019 for processed fish, while its export value was $22,000 in the same year. This could be understood as there is a high demand of processed fish in Brunei, which thus could mean there is a potential market area for both domestic and exporting processed fish. Just like any other industries, challenges and the risks are also present in the aquaculture sector. These challenges and risks pose a threat not only to the existing companies and enterprises, but also to future investments into the industry. If they are ignored or left unresolved, it may cause the current industry to stagnate and not be able to produce sufficient and quality products, hence not fully realizing its potential. These challenges also deter future investments to come in, and if it does, these investments might not be successful and be wasted. As you can see in the slide, we have identified possible challenges and the risks in accordance with 2018 strategic plan by the Department of Fisheries and other studies. And considering those challenges and risks, I'm going to quickly explore the potential risk management approaches in the following slide. As potential approaches to tackle the challenges and risks, there are possible mitigation measures that can be planned and operationalized. For this study, we have identified 4 possible approaches according to related studies and the sources, which include spatial planning and zoning, water body carrying capacity limits, aquaculture management areas, and investment and financial planning. These approaches do not target individual issues, but rather they are designed to address multiple challenges. As these approaches are mere suggestions, there are other measures that can be taken. What is more important is to have the industry to be managed properly at every stage from initial conceptualization to operation and production for successful investment. So now Mr. Ron will provide the conclusion for the study.
Thank you, Haruko. Based on the key findings, it can be concluded that Brunei's aquaculture industry has a lot of potential that can be expanded and contribute to food production, employment, industry development, and overall economic development. This can be done by further expansion of existing products and introduction of new high-value products with the use of sustainable aquaculture systems such as seaweed and bivalve aquaculture systems, offshore finfish aquaculture systems, and on-land recirculating aquaculture systems or RAS. And this shall be supported by various spin-off industries which will contribute to adding value and providing support to its operation and production. But we should be reminded that there are still several challenges that are currently being experienced and future risks that can affect the industry, although well-coordinated approaches can be done to respond to this. Undertaking best management practices in investing in aquaculture is recommended to provide for a more holistic and comprehensive development direction for the aquaculture industry. For the way forward, given the results of the study, how do we proceed from here? First, we suggest implementing further studies on the financial and economic feasibility of the identified products are strongly suggested to see the actual viability of these. Second, it would be best if there would be more venues to strengthen existing ties and creating new ones between Brunei and Japanese investors to share information. And this webinar is an example of this. And lastly, we recognize that the list we provided is non-exhaustive. So we suggest to explore other fish products and ventures in aquaculture which are viable for Brunei and trade partners like Japan. Again, thank you for your attention for this presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron and Haruko. And sorry, I will speak in English now. And using the remaining 15 to 20 minutes, I would like to use this time for question and answer from audiences. And audience general attendees are kindly requested to pose questions by message if you have a chat message if you have. And prior to this meeting, I have collected several questions. So after confirming the few minutes, if we have the chat box questions, I will pose the questions to Ron and Haruko. So the participants, 参加者の皆様、もし、ご質問があれば、チャットボックスに書き込んでいただけると、書き込んでいただければ幸いです。So, to stimulate the discussions, I'd like to pass some questions to Ron and Haruko. One of the questions is regarding the possible challenges for aquaculture for shrimps, if any, and if it can be answered by a Department of Fisheries, if it is appropriate. So Ron, Haruko, and the guest speakers, if you have any conceivable risks for the shrimp aquaculture, can you brief us?
I would like to answer the question if I could. So when we look at the importation and exportation, we can see that despite Brunei Darussalam being able to produce a large number of shrimp, which is its largest produce, we can see from the presentation that it's still importing a large number of shrimp products. So I think one challenge for the shrimp industry in terms of the aquaculture in Brunei is being able to expanding and strengthening the shrimp aquaculture in Brunei, because I believe being able to strengthen and expanding the shrimp aquaculture in Brunei will be able to not only suffice the supply for exports, but also lessen the reliance to imports of shrimp as well.
Okay. Thank you, Ron. So we got another question, and just wait. OK。ちょっと待って。Ron and Harko and the guest speakers from DOF. Another question is, if you have any plan for aquaculture tuna in that Brunei?
Thank you, Mr. Amagai. The planning for, are you saying tuna aquaculture? Are you asking question on tuna aquaculture in Brunei?
Yes, yes.
All right. Yes, we actually have a lot of areas at the sea for tuna cage culture, you know, but we are actually inviting investors who has the technology in tuna aquaculture. We have about more than 10,000 hectares of sea area for that purpose. Yeah, we welcome investors in tuna farming as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nuraini.
Yeah.
And we got another question. Could anyone brief us about the state of the network in aquaculture? State of the network in aquaculture?
Status of network?
Yes. I think this question is about the kind of the network structure of the related organizations in Brunei.
I think people from Brunei Economic Development Board may be able to answer this question.
Okay, sure. Okay. Sorry, we go to
anybody from BEDB?
Anybody from BEDB?
Yes.
Please, if you have. No.
Nobody. Anyway, as far as network infrastructure is concerned, you know, Brunei is a small country. We've been covered all over with internet connection. Yes, we can do even digital transformation of you know, the farming technology. You can always employ IoT if you have the technology in farming. I mean in aquaculture. If you want to invest in this type of, we are having the good connection and network all over the country. Yeah.
Yeah, Ms. Noraini-san, thank you. So the participants change the questions. Actually, it means how easy or difficult for Japanese companies to establish the business in Brunei and start building network with other stakeholders. So it's related to the ease of business development and establishing networking with local organizations.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Mr. Amagai. For that matter, you know, it's actually you can come as a foreign direct investor, but you need a company. If you're an investor from Japan, you need to incorporate the company in Brunei. You can be on your own as a foreign, and also you can also partner with our local businesses here in Brunei if you want to do that, and you also be able to do business on your own, but you need to incorporate the company in Brunei first, and submit the proposal if it is for aquaculture business, you have to go submit the proposal to the Ministry of Primary Resources and Tourism, and via also we can directly to our Department of Fisheries, Brunei, and complete with, I think Yati will be able to answer this question later, because she will give the criteria, all the requirements for people to invest into Brunei in fisheries sector. And she will deliver her presentation later to answer this question. Thank you, Mr. Amagai.
Mrs. Noraini, thank you. So we look forward to the Mrs. Yati's presentation after this. So using the remaining 10 minutes, I'd like to pass another questions to speakers. The one question is about the one participant interested in selling painting materials for aquaculture nets, and curious about the scale of demand for such painting materials for aquaculture nets. And if anybody can answer this question.
Well, from the study we conducted, like that was something that we didn't explore deeply into. However, like from the interviews and researching we have done, I believe there's still a demand for those materials, especially in the case where they are something that can help the productivity of aquaculture and with more advanced technology. But for more details, maybe Brunei side might know better about it.
Okay, thank you, Haruko. Any comments from Department of Fisheries?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Hamagai and Ms. Haruko. Your question is on painting?
The painting materials for aquaculture net.
Oh, all right. That is very new. We don't have any, but if some Japanese investors would like to set up the business here, I think it is a good potential business, because the aquaculture industry is growing, and a lot of investors using nets as in cage culture in the offshore areas, especially with Barramundi Group Brunei. They're using 6,000 hectares of non-kibel offshore aquaculture sites, and they do using cage nets, and people do changes nets. And then I think the painting material will be more relevant business to be a support industry to aquaculture industry. It is a good potential to be set up here in Brunei. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Noraini. And okay, thank you. And another question is about demand for fish food, and okay. So anyway, the demand for fish food, the scales. If anybody can answer this question.
I pose to Haruko, please. Did you do the study on that?
Yes. Well, from the studies, we found that I believe that many fishes and like health implements were imported from neighboring countries like Singapore and Vietnam. So there's definitely some demand for like fish feeds within Brunei, and that which will help the current people, like companies in the industry. And I believe, if correct me if I was wrong, but I think companies like Golden Corporation and Barramundi Asia are developing fish meals that can be self-sustaining and environmental friendly. So that is also something that investors who are interested in can look into as well.
Thank you, Haruko. any additional comments from other speakers? No? Okay, thank you. So I'd like to take up another questions about any environmental measures taken by the aquaculture industry. I think this question is the participants raised this question because he or she is interested in the prevention of disease or maintaining the health of fish. So can anybody answer this answer about the environmental measures taken by the industry?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Magay. Let me take that question. Department of Fisheries actually do the surveillance program, especially on fish disease and shrimp diseases. And we also do environmental, surveillance. We take water samples and we check it, we do monitor the environment as well as we practice Brunei good aquaculture practices, and we do audit the farms. So even the environment, the culture system, and also the surveillance of diseases being taken care by the government. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Noraini. And we still have several minutes, but we would like to start the presentation by the Department of Fisheries a bit earlier. So, sorry, I will change into Japanese. 春子さん、ロンさんありがとうございました。次に、ブルネイ水産庁養殖業ビジネス投資家、ヤティ・アフマドさんに、ブルネイの養殖業の投資機会について発表してもらいます。それではヤティさん、お願いいたします。
Okay, good morning. Today I'm going to present the aquaculture investment opportunities and business matching in Brunei Darussalam. The content of the presentation covers Brunei Darussalam and fisheries economy at a glance, contribution of fisheries aquaculture industries, investment opportunities in aquaculture industry, as well as investment benefits in Brunei Darussalam. So Brunei Darussalam at a glance, it is strategically located at the heart of Borneo Island between Malaysia and Indonesia. So it's about reaching 500,000 in its population. And the top three commodities for export are currently mineral fuels, chemicals, and machinery and transport equipment. So Brunei fishery economy at a glance, Brunei has fishery has contributed about 0.5% to its gross domestic products. Total fishery output in 2020 was 139 million. So in 2022, Department of Fisheries targeted about 292 million from the fisheries output. And there are three types of fishery industry in Brunei Darussalam, namely capture fisheries, aquaculture, and processing industry. So these industries are export driven for its products such as live, fresh, chilled, and frozen. And the industry must be sustainable fishery industry. That is, we are prioritizing to ensure the future of the industry. So export network, you can see it is an increasing value for export. And there are three top export destination that Brunei Darussalam fishery commodities goes to: Japan, Taiwan, and People's Republic of China. And the three top export products are shrimp, tuna, and grouper. So what are the investment opportunities in aquaculture industry? So we define aquaculture as farming of fish, crustaceans, mollusks, aquatic plants, algae, and other aquatic organisms under controlled conditions. So you will be having an opportunity of investing aquaculture based on fish cage culture, as well as on land-based culture. So here are the offshore cage culture available for you to invest in. Location, namely Victoria, Little Dell, and Pilong Rocks. So for area available inshore, this is along Tanjung Pelumpong Site B. For inshore Pulau Keingaran, and then for land-based available around Brunei Muara districts at Maragang, Serdang, Imang. So again, this is for another district, Tutong district at Kampong Talisay, Logan Duduk at Talisay as well, and Danau. So another available land-based culture at Belait district, about 6 hectares, and another available at Temburong district, around 19 hectares. And another one at Biang, 49 hectares. So what are the investment credentials that we are looking for? So it must be export driven with strong market networks and sustainable that support sustainable and environmental protection. And the technology is high tech with high yield, and the business is acceptable socially for its hygiene and quality. And the species, the production high value species, for example, grouper, pompano, sea bass, and the business is complying the best practice. Currently in Brunei Darussalam, we have the Brunei Good Aquaculture Practices to ensure compliance to basic requirement for safety, hygiene, and quality standards. So for the investment support, the department will ensure that the foreign investors are 100% joint venture or 100% foreign, that they are registering with the Registry of Companies and Brunei Names Division and the Ministry of Finance and Economy, so that they can operate legally in Brunei Darussalam. Another investment support that we give assistance, Department of Fishery is issuing the license of operation for capture fisheries, aquaculture, and seafood processing operations. And as mentioned earlier, we do provide sites, locations for the business to operate. And there will be audit of safety and quality assurance by the department to ensure that it complies to the authority for export of seafood products about 33 countries. We do issue the certificate of health and safety for human consumption and fish health and veterinary certificate. We do as well issuance of import-export license permits. The Department of Fisheries also arrange assistance with relevant authorities in the provision of granting and visas and work permits to facilitate entry and subsequent operation of the foreign or joint venture companies. We do site visits to the land allocated, and we help identify potential suppliers or joint venture partners for subcontracting. And we as well coordinate with other foreign business community and other public or private agencies in Brunei Darussalam. And lastly, we do technical advisory services to the operation of the business here in Brunei. So what are the investment provided at the industrial sites at Department of Fisheries site? For the Department of Fisheries, we do provide you the suitable site to operate, and we do provide the agreement, tenancy, and licenses of fisheries activities to conduct here. On the infrastructure, We provide main access road, electrical substation, as well as domestic water supply. For the services, we do here as well research and development of the species cultured. For the foreign direct investor, they need to provide the technology on the infrastructure. They have to build ancillary units, the ponds, catch, sewerage, seawater intake system, as well as they have to provide equipment and devices, the technology, and as well as utilities. And the services that they need to conduct is the environmental impact assessment of the site allocated and the site demarcation, technical expertise, as well as technology transfer. So how is your application will be processed? When we receive the proposal, it will be submitted to the Ministry of Primary Resources and Tourism. From then on, there will be an evaluation, recommendation, and approval processes prior to the award of the site for the businesses to start operation. So the benefit investment in Brunei Darussalam, as you are well aware, we are having a pristine environment. About 75% are still covered by rainforest. And we do have a favorable tax climate for the company applying businesses in Brunei, exempted from corporate income tax and import duties on raw materials and machinery. So we do have a conducive business environment, ensuring that the businesses starting up are very conducive, both locally and internationally. We have a strong and committed government support to improve the business environment through introduction of new processes. And we are a stable nation, politically and economically. So as mentioned earlier as well, we are strategically located at a unique area away from earthquake and cyclone. So you may contact us from this information for further inquiries. Thank you.
Yati-san, ありがとうございました。Thank you, Mrs. Yati. So, if you don't mind, can we have a question and answer session for Mrs. Yati's presentations? And we would like to welcome any questions from participants from Q&A box. Wow. Okay. Presenters, I would like to take up one question from the participants. Prior to this event, I got a question about seaweed breeding. One of the participants are interested in growing seaweeds in Brunei. And if anyone can answer the outline of the prospects of seaweeds in growing aquaculture in Brunei, can any speakers answer a brief about seaweed growing?
Perhaps Ron can answer that question through the feasibility study. Hello. How about
Amagay-san, can you repeat again the question?
Okay, prospects of seaweed growing.
Seaweed growing.
Yeah, aquaculture for seaweed.
Oh, wait. I think Haruko covered that.
Yeah, well, I think most of them are all mentioned in the presentation. But I might be repeating myself, but yes, there is definitely a possibility for seaweed in aquaculture in Brunei. And one of the reasons why we suggested to do it in Brunei was that the warm temperature and the environment of Brunei, it's much warmer than Japan, and which helps the growing of seaweed. And it was actually mentioned that the while it takes around 2 weeks, depending on the species, but it takes 2 weeks to grow seaweed in Japan, but it was how in Brunei. So I think those kind of evidence shows the really high possibility and more potential for growing seaweed in Brunei.
Thank you, Haruko. So we could understand that seaweed productivities are quite high. 生産性が高いようです。So we got one question from participants in the chat box. I read out, who are major transport service providers to / from and within Brunei, and is it already satisfying the needs of the markets? Or it more service wanted? So the question is about transport and logistic issues. And can anybody answer this question?
Yes, Mr. Magay, let me answer that. You know, Brunei is very small, and end to end is only take you about 2 hours journey. Yeah, it is within reach. We have a good coastal highway, and also a very all the sites are very near to the airport, and also the port. We have our own carrier for airplane, you know, and also we have vessels that also come in and bring products all over like ASEAN and also the Asia and Asia Pacific region through our Brunei port. Yeah. Everything is in place, and please come and visit us.
Thank you, Ms. Noraini. And I think that together with Department of Fisheries, the Brunei Economic Development Bureau can also answer this question. So if the participants are further interested, they can ask follow-up questions to the AJC, and we will answer through coordination with BDB and the Department of Fisheries. Okay, so we further welcome few questions if the participants have, or if no more questions, we will jump into next presenter's presentation. And let me wait just several seconds. Okay, thank you, Mrs. ヤティさん。ヤティさん、ありがとうございました。それでは、次に貿易投資アドバイザーとして活躍されていらっしゃる中村誠様に冷凍水産食品に関する日本の輸入規制についてご発表いただきます。それでは中村さん、よろしくお願いいたします。
Yes, my name is Makoto Nakamura. So I'm a certified jet international trade advisor. First of all, I much appreciate DOF, BDB, Embassy of Brunei Darussalam in Tokyo, and ASEAN-Japan Center for giving me an excellent opportunity to hold today's webinar. And also, thank you very much to all audience to join today's webinar during a busy schedule. Today's title is Import Restriction about frozen seafood in Japan. My time is very limited. I'm focusing on the 4 issues. The first is introduction, trend of seafood market in Japan. Second, overall importation process, flow of food import and inspection. Third, regulation and of food import and sales. I'm talking about the Food Sanitation Law and the Food Labeling Act. Fourth, others, quality control, food safety relief, 食の安心安全, which is a very important issue for the Japan market. So let's start from the first issue. Trend of seafood market in Japan, marine product import in 2018, quantity 2,380,000 metric tons is a huge quantity. Amount based US dollars 15.7 billion. We importing seafood. Number 1 is China, next Chile, United States, Russia, Vietnam, Thailand, Norway, Indonesia, Korea, the others. But we import a lot of marine products to the ASEAN countries. Item basis, number 1 is salmon and trout, and the bonito tuna, shrimp, processed shrimp. Total is a shrimp group is probably number 1 item, seafood, and crab, squid, cod. The others is including baked eel. Baked eel is a very important item for Japan market. So as you know, we Japanese importing a lot of marine products. This means that there is not so serious, difficult restriction. This is a picture of seafood corner in the supermarket. Product is use plastic tray and shrink wraps, and fish is being sold by fillet style like this. This is the reason that Japanese housewife buy the food products. Number 1 is health conscious. Health conscious is a mainstream to develop a new food item in Japan, very important issue. Next, economy conscious, it's cheap, and convenience, handmade, and safety, domestic food, and gourmet food. But safety is also very important. This trend will be increased in future. Second issue is overall importation process. We have 3 main streams of import. Number 1, vegetable fruits and processed vegetable and fruits with a phytosanitary certificate to apply the plant protection station. Next, the meat and processed meat with health certificate to apply the animal quarantine station. And others including marine products. All food products should be with ingredient list and the manufacturing process. The ingredient list and the manufacturing process is a very important mandatory documents to import food from abroad. Then we apply the quarantine station here. This is a subsidiary organization of Ministry of Health and Labor and Welfare. We clear the quarantine station, importer should pay the duty and consumption tax After that, the product will be a domestic product. And I talk about inspection. 4 major inspection: order inspection, monitoring inspection, self-inspection, and inspection by public health center after the custom clearance. Fortunately, Brunei marine products is not listed in the order inspection, also monitoring inspection. What we call inspection is means self-inspection. In case of using artificial coloring, artificial preservatives, quantum office will order self-inspection. And also additive like potassium solvate have a standard of amount. So in that case, quantum office will order the inspection about the potassium solvate. And the food which have a standard like soft drink and frozen food. The frozen seafood is a category of frozen food. But anyway, once a year, quantum office will order the standard of frozen food at time of importation. The result will be effective to use a custom clearance without inspection within 1 year after the date of inspection result. Third issue, regulation of food import and sales. Major law is the Food Sanitation Law and the Food Labeling Act. 2 mandatory documents is one is the manufacturing process. And this is an example of a smoked salmon trout. I'm personally importing a smoked salmon trout from Norway. Please use a simple wording one by one. In case of a heating process, please mention the time and temperature. So of course, you can use a flowchart instead of this document. So. And the ingredient this is also mandatory documents. Total 100% is not mandatory, but I recommend to mention like this 1 by 1% in total without a water base. And also very important issue is additives, positive use system of artificial additives. Non-listed additives cannot be used in any food, necessary to take care of contamination of illegal additives. And also standard of food, like frozen food, soft drink, is also very important. So we can use additive from this group. So designed food additive is artificial additives. Flavor including this group, so and the existing food additive the natural basis, and ordinary food used as additive substances which are generally provided as food and which are used as additive. This category is just food, but which can be used as additives. And the list of source substances of natural flavoring agents. In case of frozen seafood, so only one additive, so sodium hypochlorite for sterilization. Only this item that can be used as a frozen seafood item. But the sodium hypochlorite should be neutralized or removed at the final product stage. And this is a way of the checking ingredients. So I just prepared this document as the PDF file, Japanese and English, around 190 pages. So this is very bit old, but not so many good English documents about the food sanitation law. I recommend to use this document. And you can check flavor or something so by this site. And regarding frozen seafood is malachite green was often detected from frozen baked eel. This is illegal. And foods which have a standard from seafood is salmon and cod and boiled octopus and boiled crab and low consumption oysters, agar, and frozen food. And these standard is Detro's books is from 34 pages to 37 pages. So please check standard in detail. Quarantine office will order inspect to meet if the product meets this standard or not by self-inspection. Standard of frozen food. Important thing is bacteria count is max 100,000 count per gram, and the coliform group should be negative. It's a very important thing. A standard of the fresh fish and the shellfish. Point is Vibrio moiticus. It's a Japanese name is a Choen vibrio. Must not exceed 100 count per gram. And also additive is I mentioned sodium hypochlorite only, but it should be neutralized or removed at the final product stage. A new law, so the regulation of food antithesis containers and packaging. The target is only a plastic item, so like polyethylene, polyester. Original polymer is listed in this site, so you have to check some original polymer is if listed in this site or not. But probably plastic item is may often use frozen marine product. You have to take care of this law. And Food Labeling Act, all Japanese sorry about, but typical food labeling in Japanese is name of product, ingredients, net weight, shelf life, and way of preservation, and heat process or not before frozen, and country of origin, name and address of importer. This is a recycle mark, and nutrition information was mandatory from April of last year. Nutrition information is just calorie and protein and fat and carbonate and salt content. Now, relevant information mandatory to describe 7 items. So, shrimp, crab, wheat, soba, egg, without peanut, without walnut. These 7 allergens should be described in the food labeling in Japanese. Recommended to indicate is from marine product, ear shell, salmon roe, squid, and salmon, mackerel. That's recommended, not mandatory, but almost all importer is printing this recommended allergen in the food labeling in Japanese. The other law, Fishery Resources Protection Act. This is a new law. A target is mainly live fish and fish meal for farming. Should apply animal quarantine office with authorized inspection certificate prior to 5 days cargo arrival to get approval. And Foreign Exchange and Foreign Trade Act. This is an import quota. There is still minor item like squid is controlled by import quota. And the CITES and import restriction. Probably Brunei products is no need, not connection with the Washington Treaty. Like Russian caviar is controlled by this Washington Treaty. So we cannot import the Russian caviar anymore. Related to law, and I recommend to check trademark. If the trademark has registered by third party in Japan market, a patent is not a problem, but the importer and Brunei side should take care of the registration of trademark. Fourth issue is other quality control, food safety and relief. 食の安心安全 is very important. I need to take special care of food safety and relief. for food products to avoid the foreign body contamination, like metal piece, glass piece, allergen, during the manufacturing process to decrease the risk. Normally, the visual inspection very important. So I recommend to secure the visual inspection place with 700 lux bright inspection space. I visited Brunei 2015. This is a picture of a golden corporation. Now it's, I think, more than that. It's 6 years ago. But inside is very clean and safety. This company has already exported the product to Japan market, so very organized. I like this production line. Some yellowfin tuna is going to Tsukiji market for auction. This is a blue shrimp farming pond. Point is this black vinyl sheet. So this sheet is realized non-biotics. Water don't touch bottom of soil. Completely manages no biotic control. So this is very good for Japan market. This is typical air shower system in Japan. This factory is controlled by a Japanese company in China. They are doing a visual inspection to avoid the foreign body contamination in a very bright, over 700 lux inspection room, hand by hand. It's a very typical picture for exporting food products to Japan. Everybody is doing some inspection to avoid the foreign body contamination like this. And the other issues should we take care of the anisakis from mackerel, Japanese horse mackerel, Pacific sorry, bonite, sardine, salmon, squid will cause food poisoning. I think it's a farming fish, no problem, but wild fish sometimes contain the anisakis. You should take care of anisakis. And also mercury, Ministry of Health and Welfare give a lot of a guideline to a pregnant woman. This is a very difficult to control the mercury, but you should take care. And the blowfish is need a license and also needs a license to cook for Japan market. But the cook is Japan is very liking fish. I hope this information will help Brunei seafood manufacturer to export the product to Japan market. Thank you very much.
中村様、日本の輸入規制についてのプレゼンテーションありがとうございました。中国の例だとか、ブルネイの現地で滞在された写真なんかも見せていただいて、大変参考になるプレゼンテーションでした。ありがとうございます。参加者の皆様からもしご質問があれば、チャットボックスや Q&A で募集させていただきます。もしあれば、数分以内にお願いいたします。一つスライド3。すみません。中村様、質問を一ついただきました。スライド33について、MHLM for Mercury がどういった意味なのかというご質問です。一つお願いいたします。
Ministry and Health, Labor and Welfare give a lot of a guideline to prevent women. This means that prevent women don't eat a lot of marine products to less mercury. So this is just guideline, not mandatory.
中村様、ありがとうございます。もう一つ質問をいただいております。英語で読ませていただきますけど、Is Brunei one of the top shrimp exporter to Japan? ちょっと中村様のプレゼンテーションというよりも、全体のスピーカーにに対しての質問だと思うんですが、ブルネイが、日本へのエビの輸出国の中で、トップエクスポーターのうちの一つなのかということなんですが、Does someone from DOF or the researchers can you answer this question?
We Japan importing a lot of shrimp from Indonesia and Vietnam or something, but Brunei is still not so high position. But they are exporting premium the blue shrimp. We Japan also importing a blue shrimp from New Caledonia, but the quantity is not so high. But I think blue shrimp is one of the very potential item for exporting from Brunei to Japan as marine products.
中村様、ありがとうございます。もう一つ、追加の質問があるんですが、We want to access the website and hopefully it is easy to get, if we have difficulties in understanding, who should we contact directly? 追加のご質問、紹介があったときにどなたに、紹介すればいいかっていう話なんですけど、ASEAN-Japan センターにまずご連絡していただければ、現地の、関係者の方とつなぎます。ASEAN-Japan Center will connect you to the local stakeholders. Thank you. So,中村様、ありがとうございました。皆様、いろいろご質問だとかコメントもあることと思いますが、まずプレゼンテーションを一旦終わりにして、次に移りたいと思います。もし、さらに質問がある場合は、info@ti@asean.or.jp の、貿易投資クラスターまで、ご連絡をいただければ幸いです。次に、ブルネイの養殖企業4社から、企業の自己紹介をさせていただく時間を取りたいと思います。まず、ラズキーカンパニーという会社を紹介したいと思います。So, Mr. Almashro Damit, and the owner of the Razki company, are you ready to present yourself? Hi, Almashro. No, okay. So, すみません。順番を変えて T1 エンタープライズから始めたいと思います。So, next, Mr. Muhammad bin Haji Sanip, the admin officer of the T1 Enterprise, are you ready for your presentation, a self-introduction? sorry. So we would like to invite the company called Harifu Aquaculture, and Mr. Chuan Chung, the managing director of the Harifu Aquaculture. Can you introduce yourself?
Hello and good morning to everyone. Let me just share my screen quickly. So thank you everyone for giving me the opportunity to introduce my company, Harifu Aquaculture. My name is Chong. Sorry. We are currently operating in the Brunei Mora district, and since the year 2000. And then we are currently consistently supplying fresh shrimp to the local market, especially the supermarkets and the wet markets in Brunei. I will now talk about our current and future annual productions and targets. Currently at our farm, we are producing 225 tons annually, utilizing the earthen ponds. At this site, we currently have 16 hectares of land and 17 ponds, covering 5,000 square meters per pond. And in the future, we would like to expand into a tank system, which includes 24 tanks in each module, and there will be a total of 3 modules, which can get a daily harvest of roughly 1 ton per day. For our timeline to achieve the targets, by the end of 2022, we are hopefully will achieve 310 tons annually, which will be the completion of our first module. And by 2025, hopefully we'll complete our second and third module, which will increase our annual production to 420 tons. The other areas that we can focus on is developing a recognizable brand and capitalizing on the strong food safety that we are able to achieve due to the Brunei very, very clean water. And also focus and adapting into the new delivery method that's available to us, either domestically or for exporting, and looking into the possibility of doing live stream delivery. And in summary, we just hope we can continue providing more consistent and fresh shrimp to our customers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. John. And I'd like to pass the floor to the fourth company, Nurabai Aquaculture. And the previous, the first and second company had some technical difficulties to log in. So on behalf of them, I will present their company profile after Nurabai Aquaculture company. And the Mr. Rudy Rahim, Managing Director of Nurabai Aquaculture, can you start your self-introduction? Hello, Miss Rudy. No. See you. So because the fourth company has also a problem for IT technical issues. So on behalf of them, let me introduce their company profile. So I hope everyone can see this company profile, which is also available at the ASEAN-Japan Center's homepage. And this company is called Razki Company, established in 2016 and operated by two people, and mainly making fish and oysters, and represented by Mr. Almashrol Damit, the owner. And he's accessible by these emails, and he's also interested in the exporting aquaculture-related products from Brunei Darussalam to Japan, and also sales to Japanese companies, and agency agreements, and in manufacturing on assignment, or commissioning manufacturing with Japanese companies, and joint venture business in the R&D and tie-up for collaborative R&D activities. So on behalf of them, I read out his message. 私の会社は2016年に設立され、私、アルマシロルが2021年に会社の経営を引き継ぎました。ジョイントベンチャーと製品販売の機会を探していますということです。で、パーティシパントの参加者の方々にも見ていただきたいんですけど、この通り大きな漁場を持っています。で、レッドピラティアなんかを作られています。ちょっと簡単ですけど、ラズキーカンパニーの紹介を終わりたいと思います。And then I would like to present another company called Tigawan Enterprise. And so this is entry number 10, Tigawan Enterprise, established in 2018, operated by two persons. And fish and main products include fishes and tsumire, and represented by Mr. Muhammad Shami bin Haji Sanip. And so this company is also interested in all of activities, including the exporting and the sales and the agency agreement and the manufacturing on assignment, and the joint venture establishment and R&D activities. これも、ちょっとすみません、日本語と英語を混ぜ混ぜですが、読ませていただきます。ティガマエンタープライズは前身のカイファムエンタープライズを引き継ぎ、2018年に設立されました。スキ、白身魚、マダイ、ハタなどさまざまな種類の魚を生産しています。で、事業担当の、この方がムハマド・シャミム・ビン・ハジ・サニップさんと申します。で、寸貝文化というところに養殖場をこの通り持っております。これがアジ、ポンパノだとか、レッドピラティアの、魚の写真になります。これも簡単ですけど、プレゼンテーションを終わりにしたいと思います。最後なんですけど、もう一つ会社がございまして、それも簡単ですけど、ご紹介させていただきます。こっちか。 So this company is called entry number 13, Nuanabai Aquaculture, established in 5 years ago, 2016, and 1 million with 1 million ブルネイドルキャピタル、約8417万円ということです。で、operated by 15 employees in the main products including Pompano Hata and represented by Rudy Rahim. And they have the Facebook page, so the many, I hope many participants can look into their pages. And I have already seen their pages, and it's quite interesting. So it's recommended to see their page. And similarly to other companies, they are all interested in various activities, including manufacturing, sales, and agency agreement, and commissioning, and R&D and joint ventures. And 旗の養殖に特化しているということです。We specialize in grouper fish culture. And この方がルディ・ラヒム、マネージングダイレクターになります。で、これがグルーパーフィッシュの養殖された旗の写真です。で、もしちょっとお時間をいただければ、この、ヌラマイアクアカルチャーカンパニーってカンパニープロファイルがありまして、ちょっと簡単に共有させていただきます。So it says inshore site farm in Tanjung Pelumpong with 6 hectares of water surface for aquaculture production. Currently, the farm has 400 sea cages and currently has a holding capacity of 40 tons. And the key operations, this is a nursery and grow out ponds in SG Park to grow fingerlings and support production for inshore farms with 13 hectares and 19 ponds. The farm currently produces 7.5 tons of a month. And species being cultivated by Nuanabai aquaculture companies include these fishes, and this is a photo of black rock cod. And the next slide is showing inshore site farm for grouper species. In the ponds grow out facilities, and including ponds activities and export activities. And sorry, because of the time constraints, I'm skipping some of the slides. And most importantly, this shows a strategic growth plan of NUA enterprise and operation model, including distribution channel and marketing plan. It says starting with hatchery, eggs hatched in hatch tanks and raised to 8 inches to larvae tank and transferred to nursery ponds and completed by nursery ponds in the marine cages and to holding cages. So they are picturing this kind of value chains for their strategic growth plan. And currently, Nuanabai exports live fishes to Hong Kong, and buyers' vessels will collect the fish. And they are covered by many medias, and I can enlarge them a little bit. So about more details, you can also check their SNS site. And they are also, in this presentation, they are also covering the industry overview. So in addition to the previous speakers' presentations, this Nuanabay's presentation also can be a very good resource to learn about the aquaculture industry in Brunei. Thank you. So I'd like to stop the presentation here. Thank you. So ありがとうございました。すみません。ちょっと、IT の問題で入れない企業もあったんですが、代わりにご説明させていただきました。ここで最後に、ブルネイ大使館のイアン・マイデン二等書記官に閉会挨拶をしていただきたいと思います。イアンさん、お願いいたします。
Dr. Kunihiko Hirabayashi. Dr. Kunihiko Hirabayashi, Secretary General of the ASEAN-Japan Center. Puan Noraini Hajiangas, Director of the Department of Fisheries. Colleagues from the Department of Fisheries and the Brunei Economic Development Board, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Azian Maiden, Second Secretary from the Embassy of Brunei Darussalam. Thank you for allowing me to deliver the closing remarks today. On behalf of the Embassy, I would like to extend our sincere appreciation to the ASEAN-Japan Center for arranging the webinar on aquaculture investment opportunities. I would like to thank colleagues from the Department of Fisheries and the Brunei Economic Development Board for sharing such comprehensive information about the aquaculture sector in Brunei and the ample opportunities that we have available in the country. Thank you to all our attendees for attending this session this morning, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Webinars such as this are valuable opportunities to give you a better understanding of what we can offer you and how your business can fit into Brunei. As we heard this morning from colleagues, Brunei offers an exceptional environment for investments in aquaculture, and we at the Embassy of Brunei Darussalam stand ready to facilitate any discussions between you and our 14 Bruneian companies here today. As the chair of ASEAN, Brunei is committed to ensuring that progressive cooperation between ASEAN and Japan continues to flourish. Overall, Brunei and Japan have had long-standing relations in many areas of cooperation. We hope that this session will be a way to contribute to furthering investments and bilateral trade between our two sides, not only in aquaculture, but in other fields as well, such as oil and gas downstream, food and services, info communication, technology, and tourism. Let me also reiterate that Brunei is strategically located to provide the ideal platform into the ASEAN market, which is home to 650 million people and into the Bimyaga region. Brunei is a great place to work and live with low crime rates, clean and green surroundings. I hope that the webinar will entice our attendees to visit the country in the future and see firsthand what we have. In closing, let me thank the ASEAN-Japan Center once again for all the wonderful arrangements. Thank you to our colleagues from the Department of Fisheries, the Brunei Economic Development Board, and the 14 Bruneian companies that participated. I hope that the business meeting this afternoon will create fruitful outcomes. Should you have any questions or inquiries, please contact our embassy. Thank you.
イアンさん、ありがとうございました。皆様、それでは本日はウェビナーブルネイ・ダルサラーム養殖業の投資機会ビジネスミーティングのセッション1にご参加をいただきありがとうございました。ウェビナー後に皆様にアンケートをお送りさせていただきます。当センターの事業内容の向上のため、ぜひアンケートへのご協力をお願いいたします。セッション2のビジネスミーティングにご参加の皆様には、事前にご案内を差し上げたメールに従ってご準備をお願いいたします。本ウェビナーの内容が皆様のお役に立てれば幸いです。これにてセッション1を終了いたします。ありがとうございました。